song, pretty lady. Born to be angry, grip of the vice, click on the trigger, girl. Sip hard on ice, it's about time. Best to the right, you better know. My heart's your, go baby go. It's about time. I'm on a tightrope. Don't go. It's about time. It's about. All the years of paradise, paradigms paralyze us. You're crazy. All the cards you organize, shuffle twice in front of my eyes. Everybody needs what's so cold, girl. Lights, love, go, baby, go. It's about time. I'm on a tightrope. Don't go. It's about time. It's about.
It's Monday night, and the Alpha Touring Challenge has returned for its 15th season. Welcome back. My name is Logan McKenzie, and I am here to take you through every single race of this season of the series, and we will start this 13-round schedule here in Detroit on the island of Belle Isle. It's a 60-minute affair today, but this is your full schedule starting here in Detroit and ending over in Australia at Bathurst. Now, today's race, the first race of the season, you have a 60-minute endurance race. The field was set by solo qualifying, 3-lap qualifying sessions for each driver. 2 pit stops are expected in today's race. There is a required tire change, so during one of those stops, the drivers will have to change at least one tire on the car. No rain expected. It drizzled a bit at the end of practice, but then since then it's been sunny skies, the track's dried out, so it will just be a green track, no marbles, no rubber for the drivers today, and that is what they qualified on as well, so a little bit of rubber from qualifying, but not a whole lot. It's somewhat warm today. Expect tire wear to be higher than usual in these summer temps. About 40 degrees Celsius is what the track temp is at right now. And for the first race of the season, it's time to take a look at our first grid of the season. Let's start at the top. It is your 3 times defending champion Michael Polasek starting the season off right on pole. He has Logan McKenzie alongside him on the front row. McKenzie just barely eking out ahead of Matthew Mayer in 3rd place. Hendricks and Lazan round out the top 5 in today's race. Cooper Akers starting 6th. That's a good start for him and for T0 Racing. Francois Schenk starting outside this top 10 in 12th, and he's just ahead of your first Delta pole sitter of the season. That is Jess Rakowski for T0 Valkyries. And she has put herself 5 positions ahead of the next closest Delta driver, John Daniels. Daniels started last season with 2 Delta wins, ended up with 3 overall. Now he's hunting for the Delta title this season. Chris McDonald in 3rd place in the Delta class there in 19th. He won't be too far off the overall fight for the Delta victory. The top 20 rounded out by Mark Darnell, and then it's mostly Deltas from there on down. You see Thomas Fedorowski. Callie Haight is here. I believe this is her first start in the series. Daniel Bond's first career start as well, and he's on Formula Llama with Zachary Liebold this season. Clavijo 27th, and Yavi Sierra 28th, coming over from the Breakfast Club. Good to see him making his first start in the series. 40 cars is the size of our field this season. Fuad Al-Rijla, last season's Delta runner-up, starting 36th today. We'll keep an eye on him and see what he can do. First career starts for Trost and Morella as well. And they are just about ready to get things started on the grid down there. You have Michael Polasek, who has yet to pop on, but McKenzie in the brand new Pennzoil Super Touring colors there. Matthew Mayer in third in a Veloster, which is definitely something new for him. And back there in the all black, there is your Delta pole sitter, Jess Rakowski. And then there's John Daniels, also in a Veloster this season, switching over from the Audi. And we are just about to get going. Michael Polasek will lead us off here at Belle Isle. 1 hour of racing, and ATC15 has begun. We are a go here at Belle Isle. Polasek will lead them around the first corner. He's got a good lead. Mayer got a good start on McKenzie, and he'll cut ahead into P2. McKenzie's looking to go for an over-under as the rest of the field comes down the straightaway, heading to turn 3, and Mayer is getting passed back by McKenzie as they head into the corner, and the rest of the field now filing into this braking zone. A lot of 2-3 wide situations. Further back there, you see Jason Lynn, you see Brian Saab and Adrian Fedorowski leading that whole group there. They're all stacked up. Over here you have Bauer and John Daniels side by side for 18th position, and that is going to be Daniels eking out ahead there. And there is Callie Haight on the inside of the Formula Llama driver, Daniel Bond. They're all getting stacked up. Clark takes a little shot from Haight. And there is Yavi Sierra back there, the Alpha driver. He has DeJay and Gilbert behind him. And now Gilbert's got a huge run. What will he do with it? On board with Gilbert on this first lap. Diving in. Sierra going hard on the inside of Clark. A little bit of contact, and Sierra's going to go around. And Sierra now parked there. Oh, that is not a good place to be, because he's going to have to wait for the rest of the field to go by, and then he can get turned around. Liebold and Bowman battling here. And that is Zachary Bowman of the Pennzoil Super Touring team, running just behind Liebold. And now we have a car going into pit lane. It's Ian Bertolucci serving a false start penalty in the first race of the season. Unfortunate for the SRG driver. Jess Rakowski is your Delta leader after one lap, and Michael Polasek is your Alpha leader, and he has a 1 second lead already. And all of these cars now filing down to turn 3, mostly single file. There is John Daniels making a move on Chris McDonald, and that is a nice little overtake for P2 in the Delta class. And they are now just over 3 seconds off of Rakowski. Looking in on Connor Acatella, still with Yellow Flag Motorsports this season. He's going to look to the inside of Dan McFarland. McFarland running in the Honda. He ran it at the end of last season. He's testing it out again here at Belle Isle. He's got the 55 on his inside as they come to the end of the back straight. Heavy braking zone. And Acatella is going to try and eke ahead. He's got to leave the space for McFarland on the exit, and he does. And they are still going to go wheel to wheel as they come up into the fountain section. They have Francois Schink all over the back of them. And Schink's going to try and keep a nose in on Acatella as he loses overlap with McFarland. And they're all going to exit that corner pretty much as they were. And you see Schink's teammate, Matthew Zepka, actually flashing Mike Diamita ahead. And on board with Zepka now. And for Zepka, for Curb Your Enthusiasm Autosport, it's a bit of a rough go with this first round. Schink only just now working his way into the top 10. He's the only SIA driver in the top 10. And then Zepka's just outside of it. Looking back at McKenzie and Mayer, I think they're both chilling out, trying to work together to not lose too much ground on Polasek. Maybe a little bit of fuel saving going on. We're looking all the way back at David Bauer and Mark Darnell. Darnell is defending with Bauer on the outside in that Honda. They hit turn 3. Bauer's going to look for a crossover, but he won't have the momentum. He'll stay behind Mark Darnell. And now, Hendricks had disappeared for a second. Looks like he is back. He's running just ahead of John Lazan. All these breakfast for dinner cars are running what looks like a test livery. And we have a little bit of battling between Brian Saab and Callie Haight going around the outside. And now Fedorowski comes up on the back of the 52, looking for that position. This is scrapping for 6th place in the Delta class. And in the scrap for 3rd place in the Delta class, David Thomas looking on the outside of Chris McDonald, and he just works his way around there. And into the fountain they come, and the Chase Sim Racing driver, David Thomas, has moved up to 3rd in the Delta class. He is teammates with Brian Saab this season. Saab's just ahead of this battle here between Clark and Lynn. Clark's going to work his way around Lynn as they come through the fountain section. A lot of close battles for a track that typically sees it be very difficult to overtake. Oh, and a little wall strike for the 919 there. And that is a very easy place to do that. You're carrying so much speed through that corner. We look just ahead. There is David Thomas's teammate, 52. Moving over from 4OGs, and that team is folded. Chase Sim Racing rising from the ashes of that. Let's jump to P9. You have Raymond 2 in the 96. He's got Mike De Almeida just behind him, and they've been losing touch with De Almeida's teammate, Acatella. So the 6 of De Almeida's starting to put the pressure on the 96 here. He'll want to get by ASAP. And just over 6 minutes through this one already. We'll see the first round of pit stops in about another 20 minutes. Right now, all these drivers settling in. It's the first race of the season. It's been over 2 months since a lot of these drivers have seen the track. So for many of them, they are shaking the rust off. They are getting back into the groove. And you're just trying to get into that flow state where you aren't even thinking about how you're driving. Looking in on our Delta leader, Rakowski, in the 999. She's still got a 1.7 second lead on Daniels. Her pace is kind of, it isn't too capped. You have Zepka up ahead. We'll keep an eye on that because Daniels is slowly closing that gap. Last time around, Daniels was 0.3 faster. And that time by, Daniels was a 10th faster. So the gap slowly closing down. And you see another sort of consolidation towards either the Honda or the Veloster here in John Daniels. He was driving the Audi. Rakowski, she is defending from a move on Zachary Liebold, and that may open Liebold up to Bowman. And the two Zachs, they just can't seem to stay away from each other. Last season, we saw them fighting a lot. They have very even pace in this season opener as well, right up against each other. And I just keep hearing cars hit walls. I'm not sure if you folks are hearing that, but a lot of very slight wall strikes. This is David Bauer and Damon Mitchell. Oh, Bauer got a little bit of that inside curb, managed to keep it out of Mitchell's door, and they came together on the corner exit anyway. A little bit of a nudge. Mitchell has the straight line speed over the Honda here. They're going to touch a little bit as they come into the braking zone. Bauer's not going to give this up easy. He goes as deep on the brakes as he can, and he gets ahead of the 27. It's a solid move by the 35. He's up 3 spots since the start of this race. Looking in on Daniel Bond. That is a small shot from Brian Saab. Completes the pass for P8 in class for him. And Bond in his first Alpha Touring Challenge start, and what a difficult place to have your first start. It is a common place to have your first start with how often Belle Isle ends up being the season opener, just about every other season, but it it cannot be understated how difficult it is to come here and drive in a 40-car field for the first time in TCR. These walls are so close to you, and you just got to do your best to not only hold your position, but hold your car on the track and keep it from accumulating too much damage. It can be a race of attrition this season opener sometimes. And they have one fast repair, but 2 pit stops. So you don't want to end up getting damaged, twice in the race and only have one fast repair. Smith goes up the inside there of Jason Lynn and gets that move done. Pretty straightforward. Polasek has nearly 3 seconds on McKenzie now. McKenzie has been keeping Matthew Mayer behind him, all bottled up. So far, no movement from those two. Hendricks is not that far off of them, so you could see something happen there. And now Brian Saab has had a lot of cars go by him, and it's because he's got damage to the left front. That he's on the back stretch, so maybe a wall strike on the exit of turn 6. And now he's just going to have to try and limp that one to pit lane. It really doesn't want to cooperate under the brakes. That front left tire is not supposed to be pointed that direction. He'll be able to make the left turns. The right turns are going to be a bit tougher here. And there's the fountain up above him as he goes through that section, just making the corner. He'll be able to use that fast repair, and he'll be within the pit window, but he'll lose a lot of time here as he limps back. Rakowski still keeping both the Zacks at bay. Zepka has long lost them up ahead, so this defense is costing her some time to Daniels. There he is. Still 2 seconds off of her, so since Zepka has left the scene and Daniels gotten to clean air, they've been about even on pace, 2 Delta leaders. And Saab did make it to pit road, and he will manage to get that fast repair. We'll see that car pop back the way it should be. There it goes. Let's check back in on this little row of cars here. It's a battle for... This group goes all the way from Cooper Acres through McFarland, Ecatella to De Almeida, and then to Francois Schenck at the back. And Schenck almost got into the back of De Almeida there, actually. And now we have a crash. It's Callie Haight on the back stretch. Heavy damage to that car, it looks like, as she struggles to get going. Oh, no, yet very heavy damage. Fuado Rizla managing to avoid a catastrophe there. Marcel Thomas also going by. And Thomas, in his first start in the ATC Challenge, ATC as well. He's up 2 spots now. But Callie, she will be doing the same thing Saab did and trying to limp that one back. It's similar damage. The only difference is that the engine has an issue. It's smoking heavily, and honestly, this damage is worse. There goes Lobner. Wow, that thing is like a twisted sister. It does not look good at all. The rear right has some damage too. It looks like she was actually contacted, maybe. But she's doing a good job managing to limp that one home. Just hoping that the engine doesn't blow up, before it gets there. And JB DeJay is in the pits. Now, we saw him go by Haight, but then... And he didn't have damage at that point, so it looks like he struck the wall during that lap. Bertolucci on a bit of a recovery drive after the false start. He's in this mix with Clark, Lynn, and Smith. Now, Lynn and Gilbert and Gilbert's on the back of this too. Gilbert and Lynn are teammates now as a part of the newly formed Gator Racing this season. And they've got a nice sandwich that consists of Bertolucci and Smith going on right there. And Bertolucci has some damage as well, so hopefully he will not have somehow consumed that. If he false started, it depends on how severe the false start is. It can be a drive-through, it can be a stop and go. He probably still has that fast repair. He's very close to the back of Lynn. Will he look for a cheeky little move? Nope, he's going to stay behind. But you see how close he's sticking to the back bumper of the 661. And you see that group just a little further ahead. Oh, here goes Bertolucci. Lynn's not going to fight this. That's not typically a corner you let someone up the inside of you at, but I think Lynn would much rather be past there than in a corner like this one. We go to the battle for P3 in the Delta class. That's David Thomas and Chris McDonald, but David Bauer is inserting himself into this. He goes around Chris McDonald. And we go back to this battle between Smith and Lynn. Smith did get the run on Lynn out of turn 2 and into turn 3. He's up into 8th in the Delta class. Smith is up 12 spots so far in this race. Let's go back to the battle of the Zacks. Bowman is pushing Liebold all the way down the back straightaway. Will he go for a move? Oh, he's on the brakes just before Liebold, and they still cannot get to Rakowski. It's almost like they're trying to work together to get around the 999, and they just haven't been able to get that accomplished. We'll jump back to the onboard with Spencer Clark behind Liebold's teammate, Bond. And they're driving behind Evan Clavijo right now. Clavijo's carrying a little bit of damage on that front end. Yeah, that front left isn't looking too good. The wheel looks fine. And Bowman and Liebold both go around Rakowski, and it looks like she has enabled that a little bit. But I wonder if it's a bad run out of one of the final 2 corners that caused her to go ahead and give it up. She has left front damage. I don't know if that's new, but that could be why she is elected to let them go. She's opened up a little bit of a gap on Daniels. It's now almost a 2.5 second gap, or it was before that incident. So probably smart to let those 2 go and just focus on vying for the Delta lead. A quarter of the way through the race now. Jason Lynn is on pit road. I'm not sure if that's a scheduled stop. I see some left front damage. He's going to go ahead and get his tires on this stop. And Raymond 2, now Mike D'Almeida has the opening he wanted. And 2's going to have to tuck back in. Just a bad run out of turn 6, I guess. And that allows the 6 to go around him. 26 right now. Some numbers, I'm sure, were a little shift to turn this due to some of the new drivers. But hey, you know, it's got a 6 in it. Going back to Bond, he is as close to Clavijo as he has been coming to this corner here at the end of the backstretch. He actually looks to the right, and on the brakes, the Veloster up the inside of the Elantra, and he makes it look easy on Clavijo. And now Clark will be looking to replicate that fairly quickly, or else he's going to lose touch with Bond. Now it is David versus Dave, and Bauer will finish the move on Thomas. So he continues his climb through the Delta field. 5 positions up so far for Bauer after qualifying down in 22nd. And Bond and Clavijo, this is not over yet as Clavijo makes the move back on Bond. And in the final quarter, there's going to be a little touch. Bond thought about it, he thought about it, and then had to back out. Will that expose him to Clark? I think Clark also had to sort of go nowhere with his momentum. And that could have been a nasty wreck. If you catch Clavijo right there, you send him straight into the outside wall. And then you got 3 cars there. And Clark has to go to the left as Bond gets a bad run out of turn 2 maybe. Clark thinks he can go for a move. As they come down to the corner though, it's actually going to be Bertolucci behind who makes the move on Spencer Clark. Helps Bond out a little bit, but he will be next in Bertolucci's sights. Now up front, the battle for P2. Hendricks has caught the back of Mayer and McKenzie. And Polasek is now 6.5 seconds up the road. Starting his title defense off right, the number 1 stays number 1. And 18 minutes into this one, I doubt he'll be pitting right now. We probably got another 10 minutes before the final pit stops of this first stint begin. Oh, Clavijo going very defensive. He's gone too deep. He has to make Bond and him make contact as Clavijo tries to stay out of the wall. Now Bertolucci and Clavijo side by side, teammates last season. Now Bertolucci's on SRG and Clavijo's on SYART-G. And Bertolucci stays behind the 187. That was tight. That has 2 times where Bond and Clavijo's battle almost ended in tears, but they managed to make it work. And now this is the largest group of cars on the track. And here you see Clavijo's going to try and give it to Bertolucci as Kurt Smith elects to take a pit stop. Clark's going to take advantage of this and try and go around the outside of Clavijo, and I think he's going to get this done. There's going to be an over-under from the 187, so it's not over yet, and Gilbert will have a great view of this as they head down to turn 3. Oh, much later on the brakes, and Clavijo fully eclipses Clark, sweeps around the outside. Clark almost into the back of Clavijo in the next corner. Looking in on this group, McFarland's detached a bit after getting around Cooper Akers, which I believe happened off screen. And then Acatella and Schenck are next in line to get around the T0 Racing driver. He had a great qualifying, maybe qualified a bit, you know, above his race pace, but this is the track you want to do that at because it's difficult to overtake here. And you see only McFarland's gotten around him, and he's still got quite a few drivers dealing with being stuffed up back there. And up here, Hendricks is knocking on the door of Mayer and McKenzie. Now, he had to drive up to them to catch them. If they've been fuel saving, he may not really be in this race. But you know who is in the race for P3 in the Delta class? McDonald and Thomas going side by side into turn 1. It's going to be McDonald taking that position back in the 85. And he will sweep around turn 2, and he's back on the podium. Your Delta leader, oh, excuse me, for a second I thought that was the gap between Daniels and Rakowski, but actually it's Daniels and Bauer, and that is Bauer going around Daniels, and now he only has one Delta driver left to clear, and that is Rakowski, who we were just looking in on. She's actually caught back up to Bowman. She's keeping up with Bowman, and it seems like she has the pace on Daniels. Daniels now 3.5 seconds behind. Rakowski's got to keep this clean. She could be looking for a Delta win. I think that would be her first career Delta victory. We can confirm that now. Yes, so she doesn't have a career win yet. Right now, 3.5 seconds up. Daniels was in a similar position at the start of last season. Didn't have a career win. It was actually his first start, and he went ahead and took the victory at Gilles Villeneuve. Schenck and Acatella have swapped. See if Schenck has better luck going around Akers. And pit stops may help these guys out too. Come on to the front stretch for the 14th time today. See Schenck avoiding the curb, Akers getting up onto both of them, and Schenck getting a slightly better run out of the corner. Let's see if he goes for it. Rakowski, your Delta leader, has entered pit lane. We'll jump to that in a moment. Akers going defensive. Schenck looking for the outside lane, but that is just not going to work, but he's going to go to the inside, and he decides, I can't get far enough alongside. We'll stay there. Rakowski is taking tires on this stop. And Spencer Clark and Lewis Gilbert are also on pit lane. And Rakowski's stop is a normal length of time, but a bad exit from the stall. She bogs it down a little bit. So a 25-ish second stop turns into like a 27, 28. She will have lost some time. We will keep an eye on her Delta competitors. As she exits pit road, though, clean air. So she will be able to put the pedal to the floor and go for the victory from here on out. Now we look back at McDonald and Thomas. They're going around a lap car. That's Callie there. Now you see that white car has already collected so much dust already. I've said already twice there, but it's funny how just a plain white car reveals just how much gunk gets collected on these cars over the course of a race. John Lazon has entered pit lane, and Acatella is following him. So some of the leaders beginning to elect to choose to come down instead of being, involved in these battles. Acatella was on the back of Rakowski and Schenck. Now Schenck was released by Rakowski, but Acatella's gone ahead and decided to come down. And Lazon's teammate Bauer is on pit road as well. McDonald and Thomas go around on the track. And, excuse me, Acatella was not stacked up behind Rakowski. I was thinking of that other group. He was stacked up behind Akers and Schenk. So it makes a lot of sense for Acatella to have pitted. Now his teammates coming up to the back of Schenk and Akers. I wonder if he employs a similar strategy. On pit exit here, you have Acatella leading this group off with Lazan behind him. And Lazan, 24-second stop. Acatella, 30-second stop. Not a good pit stop for him. Not sure what took so long. David Bauer's stop. It was a second and a half faster than Jess Rakowski, and now he enters the track side by side with her, and a little bit of touching. A lot of bit of touching from the prospective Delta leader with Bauer, who is just trying to get past the last of the Delta class. If he can clear Rakowski, this would actually probably help Rakowski a little bit as they make more contact at the apex. Neither of them wanted to give that one up easy, and neither of them are too pleased about how it went down, I'm sure. Your race leader, Michael Polasek, has hit pit road. Al Rijla and Marcel Thomas have exited. And a lot of other drivers on pit lane as well. You have Hendricks, McFarlane. Pit road's going to be busy this lap. McFarlane, Akers, Schenk, De Almeida. Let's see how this plays out. McFarlane, De Almeida, and you see Hendricks did not take tires, but Akers did. Schenk did not take tires. He's going to try and take advantage of these pit stops to go around these drivers. And on exit, Polasek well ahead of this group. Schenk exits behind him, having not taken tires, but Polasek did. And almost everyone came in on this lap. Here's John Daniels. He did take tires. His pit stop was 2.5 seconds faster than Jess Rakowski's, so they're going to be very, very close. Where is Rakowski? She is coming around into turn 1 now. There is Daniels. There comes Rakowski, and Daniels is going to be your new Delta leader as Rakowski is just behind him. He emerges ahead of the 999. That's a 1.5 second gap now. There is still one Delta driver that has yet to pit. 3 drivers overall that made that second, that saved that extra lap. And that is Dave Thomas, Logan McKenzie, and Matthew Mayer. McKenzie and Mayer come down pit road, bumper to bumper. And this is the battle for P2, eventually. Hendricks did not take fuel. Schenk did not take fuel, so they're going to be out of position. And into their stalls they go. McKenzie gets tires, and Mayer still hasn't stopped! Oh, he missed his stall, and that's going to be huge for the 12. That's going to be a big time loss. Thomas goes down pit road as Polasek goes on by to resume leading the season opener here at Belle Isle. Almost halfway through this race. And David Bauer now going around Zachary Bowman. That's a tough place to pass, but he makes it work. Bauer now up 7 spots in this one. And Dave Thomas is getting tires on this stop. Let's see where he comes out in relation to the rest of the Delta class. Jess Rakowski's dropped more on this lap. She lost out to McDonald and Mitchell, and now she's back on pit road, and that might be a black flag from her last stop. Maybe speeding on pit road. That ends her chances of winning this race, and she does have to serve a stop-go penalty, and she will be demoted pretty far down the order here. Corey Lobner is coming in to take tires now for his stop. So Micah Hendricks, your leader right now, but Polasek will eventually resume that title. And after the first round of pit stops, a few close battles still on track. Kurt Smith and Jason Lynn. That is out of turn 3, and Smith going around Lynn for 5th in the Delta class. Remember, Smith pitted very early compared to everyone else. He also had a fast stop. 22.4 second pit stop, 48.2 seconds spent on pit lane. I mean, that is that's pretty good compared to the people around him. here are the final pit lane times. Now that all that's done, Bond making a move on Saab. This is for 8th in class. Heading to the end of the backstretch. Saab has a little bit of left front damage. Bond's going to go for an... Oh no! Saab hits the wall. Into Bond he goes, and now he's going to be out of this race. No more fast repairs for him, and Bond has heavy damage. We are not inside of the next pit window. This is terrible timing for the 37, and he has heavy damage to that front left wheel. This is going to allow, you see Spencer Clark behind him, and he's already allowed Spencer Clark through, actually. He allows both those cars through, and he will have to make an unscheduled stop to repair the damage from that. And Saab just went in a little too deep trying to defend, and the rebound off the wall catches Bond out, and the 37, he was doing well. He will have to, honestly, it's a common experience. First-time starters in the Alpha Touring Challenge, the first-time starter curse. It tends to not go so well for people in their first start, but he'll get that fast repair. He'll get out there real quick. It'll probably just be a quick stop and go, unless he used the fast repair on the first stop, and he might have, so he could be sitting there for a bit. Checking back in on Mike D'Almeida, he did jump, he jumped 2 before the pit stops. He still leads to an Acatella, but now Akers is behind all of them. So over the course of the pit stops, they do manage to jump him. Lazan is the first car behind the 29 now. And we look back to Rakowski working her way back through the Delta field into the back of Lynn at the end of the back straight. They continue as they were. Still 31 cars on the lead lap halfway through this one. And our biggest mover of the day thus far is Kurt Smith right there in the number 3. He's gone up 16 spots. He started 39th. And he's dealing with a little bit of front left damage. He's still putting down some good laps. Other big movers in this race, Francois Schenck has gained 9 spots since the start, though that is mostly due to the pit strategy. David Bauer has gained 8 spots, and that's a real 8 spots right there. He took tires on his first stop. And Lewis Gilbert is also up 8 spots, despite having taken tires. So he and Al Rijla, they started 36th and 35th, and now they are 27th and 29th, and there is Al Rijla, your runner-up in the Delta class last season. Did not have a good opening qualifying session to start this season, but he has made it work so far. It's been a bit of a lonely race for him, but he's eked into the top 10 in the Delta class so far, and we're only halfway through this one. Now, Lynn may be under more pressure from Rakowski. They come to the end of the backstretch. Rakowski's looking for a place to pass, and she'll go for the inside. And Lynn pops out for a bit, but Rakowski has gotten by him just fine. And that moves her back up into 6th. Here's your presumptive race leader. Marko Polasek has led most of the laps today. Has also, he started on pole position, nearly 3/10 ahead of McKenzie. And this is his bread and butter. This has been his bread and butter for the last 2 seasons. These endurance challenges are where he just cleans up. When he puts it on pole and then has clean air in front of him, there's really nothing to stop him and his pace. And we see that here today at Belle Isle. If someone had started ahead of him, it could have been a different race, but the qualifying, he's so imperious in both qualifying and the race that it's just difficult to stop him. In seasons 12 and really the first half of season 13, he was struggling in qualifying a bit. You'd always have Mayer, McKenzie, or someone would pick him off every other race, and it would just make things that much more difficult for him. It was part of why he didn't win a race until about a third of the way into season 13 was his qualifying efforts. But ever since he cleaned that up and just started racking up poles, he's been pretty much unstoppable. And it's clear that he's always had the race pace, and the qualifying was the Achilles heel, and now I'm not sure he has an Achilles heel. He's running away from, he's got over nearly an 8-second lead on Logan McKenzie right now. McKenzie came out after Matthew Mayer's mistake in the pits. Mayer's currently 4.5 seconds off of McKenzie. So that's a pretty comfortable gap. We'll keep an eye on it. So far, McKenzie looks like he may comfortably hold on to that P2. There's a small hit in the wall. 21 laps through. The driver's having to do 40 laps of Belle Isle. That is a grueling test of endurance. Looking back at Raymond 2 in the 96, there's only 2 drivers who elected to go fuel only on that first stop, and it's Schink and Hendricks. And Schink and Hendricks, honestly, that's kind of their MO. They, more than anybody in the field, go for that strategy of taking tires second. The reason you would think that would be the preferred strategy, because if you take tires first, it puts you further back in the field because you have the longer pit stop first. But if everybody's doing it, there's no field to put you back into. And the reason everyone does it is because they want to know exactly how much fuel to put in the car on that second stop. The reason these drivers are fuel saving a bit for the second stop is simple. Even though the first stop, when you take tires, that takes longer than it takes to put fuel in the car. If you save an extra lap, that does count towards, that fuel only stop at the end of the race. That's less fuel to put in the car. A whole less, a lap's fuel worth. That's like 2 liters. And you see Mayer and McKenzie of Thomas have all done that. For drivers like Hendricks and Schink, you have the option to do that, but then you are committing to have to fuel save throughout your last stint without knowing what position you'll be in, how easy it'll be to fuel save, if it'll even be possible. You're kind of guessing. So if you take tires first, you can fuel save to the maximum and know the exact number to put in at the end. If you do what Hendricks and Schink do, there's a little bit of guesswork involved, and that's just why you don't see anyone else do it all that much, unless they are stuck in some kind of traffic situation. And in Schink's case, he was stuck in a traffic situation. In Hendricks' case, he was stuck in a traffic situation, but also Mayer and McKenzie were probably fuel saving more than him. And he's hoping, I think, that he can get clean air, go faster than them on this stint, and then still be in contention during the next stint. But here, see, he's actually already having to pull off and pit after just 8 laps of driving around on that intermediary fuel tank. So this will be the fuel stop for Hendricks, and Schink will go through. So Schink has another lap of fuel in there as the 73 bolts the new tires on. And there is Schink in that new green, neon green and purple Sia machine for this season. It was a bad qualifying effort, but so far he's having a good go of recovering. And I think the strategy is part of it. He's just trying to maximize the pace in the car. The benefit of this strategy is that if you think you're faster, well, then you get to put it to the test, because you got to make up, the 2-3 seconds, maybe even 4 seconds you lose to having to put in more fuel in the car later on. If you know you're faster, then you just got to go. Akers finally losing that position to Lazan. Lazan was stuck behind him for so long, but he finally gets around him in turn 3. And that is the battle for 9th wrapped up. And Zepka is behind Akers now. He's been knocking on the door of the top 10 this whole race. Started 15th. Let's check in on the battle for the Delta lead. We haven't talked about them for a while, not since Rakowski's lost it to Daniels, and then all that happened. McDonald has closed up to the back of Daniels, and though John Daniels still holds this lead, McDonald has been faster over the course of this stint, at least catching up. Speaking of Rakowski, trying to get around Smith into turn 3. Smith stays ahead on that defensive line, Lynn right behind them, and Smith dealing with some kind of damage that is causing the left side of that car to scrape the ground. I don't know how much it's affecting his pace, but a lot of sparks coming from the 3. No meatball flag, though. The stewards are content to let him continue to drive like that. And Francois Schenck now in for that tire stop. And here's the other end of that strategy is when you do take the tires, you have to stop earlier than everyone else, so you may end up getting set into the back of the field at this stage. Hendricks, for example, is stuck behind David Bauer right now. Schenck is going to reemerge here. And I think he's also going to have... there's the Delta leaders just in front of him, but here comes Damon Mitchell, and Mitchell's going to have a run on him down the straightaway. The question is, does Mitchell actually go for an attack here, cause both of them to lose time? He goes to the left. Schenck's going to stay defensive, but I don't think Mitchell was too interested in fighting that one. And so Schenck will have a little bit of clean air here, a little bit more compared to Hendricks, but Hendricks emerges 2.5 seconds ahead of Schenck. There he is, just behind Bauer. 20 minutes to go here in the season opener of the Alpha Touring Challenge at Belle Isle. And now Rakowski has made the move on Smith into turn 3. Smith may try and come back at her into 4. She goes for a slight defensive move, but I don't think that it was necessary in the end. The 999 continues. She may not end up winning this race, but she's going to sneak into the top 5 of the Delta class here again. Back to that battle for the Delta lead. Looking backwards at McDonald. Although there's no rain expected in the forecast, the clouds are starting to move in. It'll cool the track a little bit, and those who have saved their tires throughout the race will be really rewarded. They'll really be able to push in these conditions. And Adrian Fedorowski, he was running 4th in the Delta class. He decides to go ahead and come in for his stop, and he's in that first stall. He came to a stop immediately. And there he goes. It only took him 8 seconds to get that second little spurt of fuel of the day. And Spencer Clark is right behind him to get his final stop done. On track, we have a small scrap here. Bauer still defending from Hendricks. And at the end of the back straight, Hendricks goes for a late lunge and then decides better of it. He went for it, and then once they got on the brakes, he realized he wasn't going to be able to get alongside the 35 and had to go back in. And you have to be very careful when you're doing that because it's so difficult to judge when you're going through there. Looking in on Thomas, who, as Spencer Clark exits pit lane, he goes around Marcel Thomas there. And they continue as they were. Almost a moment there where Clark was going to lose some time battling on pit exit, but they managed to get him out just ahead of the Honda there, of Marcel Thomas. And Thomas running just ahead of Corey Lobner. And again, I was talking about the consolidation towards Velosters and Hondas as the Audi and the Elantra kind of get left in the dust. The only Audi in this race, I guess there's a few. Dunbar and Morella, they didn't run. Dunbar ran 10 laps. Morella didn't run any. Darnell and Gilbert are still in the race. And then in terms of Elantras, I know Evan Clavijo's around. There he is. And DeJay also runs in an Elantra. Jess Rakowski's making her final pit stop of the day here. But there's another Elantra in DeJay. But just the Honda and Veloster are a bit more universally applicable as the teams have found over time. And this season especially, you're starting to see the effects of that. Now, Javi Sierra is also on pit road for his final stop. Rakowski spent 11 seconds putting fuel in that car. Sierra will spend 9.5. So a bit of variance
and how much fuel guys are having to put in. There's your race leader with 16 minutes to go in this one. Polasek with a 9-second gap. And that gap from first to second is large. The gap from second to third is closing. Matthew Mayer's cut half of that gap that McKenzie had on him down. And he still has some time to make this up. Now Hendricks is again very close to Bauer, coming to turn 3. Stays behind 35. Bauer hasn't made his second stop yet, but he may not for another 5 to 10 minutes. So Hendricks could be stuck here for a bit. And Fedorowski has crashed. Adrian Fedorowski is on pit road with heavy damage to the car. One of our cameras probably has a view of that damage. You know, we'll have to stick with this for now. But trust me, that thing is broken. And Kurt Smith is on pit road. That's his final stop of the day. And getting some of the damage repaired, but not all of it. He will continue to spark for the rest of this race, it looks like. Now, McDonald under some pressure from Francois Schink, and this is helping out John Daniels because for the Delta lead, Schink's going to go through here, and then what may happen is Daniels may pit without having to deal with Schink, and this time loss may be permanent for the 85. Just behind Thomas, Dave Thomas dealing with a similar time loss with Mark Darnell working his way around the Delta driver. So Daniels is your Delta leader with a 1.5 second gap over McDonald. And we still have just under 15 minutes to go. Probably just over 15 minutes to go for a lot of these drivers. We'll be going to about 40-41 laps. Damon Mitchell is doing his final stop of the day. And David Bauer is under pressure from Hendricks and into turn 3. Hendricks trying to box him out, but now he can't. So into turn 4, he'll have to go for it again, and now he's got it done. That was a move a long, long time in the making. Oh, and a little hit to the wall there for Bauer. Gilbert also on pit lane. And now, oh, that is Marcel Thomas. Where is he? That is at the exit of Fountain. That is a strange place to end up in the wall. I wonder if he hit the brakes and oh no! A big contact with Jason Lynn. And I don't know if that was intentional or he didn't know Lynn was there and was trying to get over for pit lane. We check in on Francois Schink as he goes around Daniels. So that's a big help to Chris McDonald that Schink got to Daniels before they did the pit stops. He's right on the back of him for this lead. John Lazon starting his final stop of the day. And this is from the nose of John Daniels. Will he go for the final stop? He stays out. And so does McDonald. Now Daniels, he has 3 Delta victories to his name now. For Chris McDonald, he has a decent amount of podiums, but his first Delta victory actually came at Thruxton at the very end of last season. So he is looking for only his second career victory in this one. I think he may be slightly faster than Daniels. Slightly faster is not going to be enough to pass here. He's going to have to catch Daniels somewhere unawares. Matthew Mayer setting the fastest Sector 5 of the race so far. And right up on the back of McKenzie. That entire advantage from McKenzie is gone. With 12 minutes to go, the battle for second may be back on. The battle for ninth may be on here. Zepka and Liebel are bumper to bumper. And they're still behind Cooper Akers, who's been holding on to that top 10 for dear life for T0. And now, Al Rijla hits pit lane. And that is, I think he stopped too short. So he lost a little bit of time on the entry to the stall. And here come Daniels and McDonald. That is around turn... You know what? I do not know what turn that is. But that is the second to last turn, I'll tell you that. And maybe a small touch for Daniels. McFarlane is now on pit exit. And that is his final stop of the day done, and he will have nobody around him. A nice cruise for him. Zachary Leibold and David Bauer also leaving pit lane. And there goes Lazan on around. There's Bauer on exit. Leibold's going to be very close to... Oh, that's Evan Clavijo. He's a lap down, so he's going to back out of that. And yeah, Zachary will have a clear exit back onto the track. Back to the battle for P2. Oh, McKenzie sounded like really struggling with the tires, and Mayer on the back of him. And now your race leader, Michael Polasek, is on pit road. These guys will go at least one extra lap beyond Polasek, I'm sure. Both of them feinting towards pit lane, and they continue another lap. They've got some lap traffic ahead. That is, that's one of the SIA drivers. Is that Spencer Clark? That is Spencer Clark. He's the last car, not a lap down. Polasek, Diamita, Raymond 2, Connor Acatella, that group's all on pit road. They're close enough that if one of them makes a mistake, things could change here. So let's keep an eye on them for a moment. Akers also looking for a good stop to stay ahead of Zepka. They're all cleanly into their boxes. And Diamita's the first away. 2 will follow. And Acatella a little bit longer in his box, almost losing out to Akers. Actually, Akers, what was going on with him? It looked like he started and then stopped, and now he's backing all the way up. And now he goes. Did they not put enough fuel in the car the first day? He's backing up more. What's going on? Akers losing buckets of time here. And now he's figured it out. And they're servicing the car. The Delta leaders go by. John Daniels and Chris McDonald finish their stop, and they're through on Akers. It's disaster for T0 Racing in the pit stop. Oh, McKenzie going defensive there again on Mayer. Will they come to the pits on this lap? Clark and Rakowski are directly in front of them. Whoever stops, the other one's probably going to be in trouble. And they both are not going again. McKenzie goes in, and Mayer stays out. So the 04 on pit road. Michael Polasek's stop was without drama. So he should resume the lead here fairly shortly. And there is the 04 cleanly into his stall. So now we look to Mayer, who sets a purple Sector 1. Will he be capped off by Clark and Rakowski ahead? In the waning minutes of this season opener, unanswered questions. Who will finish second? Who will win in the Delta class? McDonald exited the pits 1.7 seconds off of Daniels, so he lost time on that stop. His stop was 1.5 seconds longer. So Daniels just saved a bit more fuel, had to put less in. And now Spencer Clark will yield to the blue flags here. So he will not slow Mayer down at all. What will Rakowski do? Will Mayer lose any time here to the 999? It's not quite where you want to catch someone. Oh, a small strike. Rakowski lets him through. Relatively little drama for the 12. Lobner and Trost making their final stops. And here comes Mayer on the pit road for the final time today. He hits his braking point. And now we wait to see where McKenzie is on track. He's still entering the final 2 corners now. Lobner's getting some damage repaired there. And it is a clean entry into his stall for the 12. And they're putting tires on. That seems like a mistake. And there is Logan McKenzie right there going around. And Mayer may be in trouble here if they're only going to put front tires on. Hendricks is going to go through on him, and Hendricks will collect P3. Where is Dan McFarland? McFarland, Mayer's teammate, will pick up P4. And Francois Schenck comes through to pass Mayer as well. And he's all the way down into 6th. Here comes Mike D'Almeida. And on pit exit, they're going to be side by side. This is not what Mayer wanted. And now, down to turn 3. He's just trying to get as close to the 6 as he can. He's going to try and get on the brakes. Side by side, and they're still going at it. Raymond 2 behind them. Oh, they're doing such an excellent job of this. A little touch on the wall for D'Almeida. Hanging it around the outside. Can Mayer do it? Yes, he can. Oh, what a move by the 12 to finish that one off. On the cold tires, too, you have to remember. A great scrap through Sector 1 in the final minutes of this race. And now there might be another scrap developing. Only a few laps left, and John Daniels' lead continues to diminish. On that last lap, McDonald ran a 39.12, and Daniels ran a 39.85. McDonald is cooking. Taking more of that inside curb than Daniels in front, which is interesting because the Veloster is typically better with the curbs than the Honda. That gap now down to just 0.6 of a second. Cooper Akers, after that stop, he ended up all the way down in 18th. Super unfortunate for him. Kurt Smith is still up 15 spots in this race. He's about to go a lap down. He'll probably be the first car a lap down by the time this race ends, as Spencer Clark is another 5 seconds up the road. And I doubt Polasek there is in any kind of hurry with his 13-second gap over former teammate and championship rival Logan McKenzie. And Raymond, too, has been sticking to the back of D'Almeida pretty much this whole race. But I don't know if he's going to get close enough here in the end to make a move. So we'll stay with the Delta leaders, because this is where all the action is going to be at the end, I think. 3 minutes left. Polasek has just crossed the line. So it's going to be close on whether or not it's 3 laps or 2 laps for these guys. So for now, you got to drive. If you're McDonald, you got to drive like you have 2 laps after this. If you're Daniels, you drive like you have 3 laps. And these two have done a great job of avoiding the attrition here at Belle Isle. And it's been a very clean race overall for the most part. And after the first half of the race, drivers definitely, for the most part, figured it out. Yavi Sierra going around Jason Lynn here in the closing moments for 26th in Sierra's first career start. Sierra fresh off of coming P2 in the Breakfast Club's road car challenge. And back to that Delta fight. Daniels has opened back up a gap, 0.3 to McDonald behind. And they either have 2 or 3 laps to go. So we'll look in on Polasek. Polasek's got a lot of lap traffic in front of him here. There's Thomas. And then I don't even know all the cars in front of him. But we're going to see if he gets the white flag here. And I think he will. We're inside of a minute and a half, and these laps are longer than that. And they will wave the white flag for Michael Polasek. On that last lap, it was a 1:38.21. So for Daniels and McDonald, they have 1.5 laps. And right now, Daniels is on pace to collect his back-to-back season opening victories in the Delta class here in the Alpha Touring Challenge. Not if McDonald has anything to say about it, though. He closes up to McDonald in this section. I think we're seeing, you know, the Honda strong there, then the Veloster strong in the other parts of the track, and it's up to the drivers to make up the difference. Through the final 2 corners. They will have 1 lap to go in the Delta class to decide who wins the first race of the season. They're waving the white flag for John Daniels. Mike Diomita under a lot of pressure from Raymond 2 on this last lap as well. Working his way onto the backstretch. Trying to keep that pressure firmly behind him. His teammate doing everything he can to help. I think he's going to be okay here. So we go to Michael Polasek. It was the 3rd most wins in a season all time last season. He's going to start off right where he left. It's a victory for Michael Polasek. Your 3-time defending champion wins at Belle Isle. And we will have to wait 14 seconds for Logan McKenzie. So while we do that, let's jump to our Delta leaders. John Daniels, Chris McDonald. They're heading to the end of the backstretch. McKenzie brings home P2, and Micah Hendricks will also bag a podium in the first race of the season. McDonald, he will really only have one more overtaking chance. It's going to be in this corner at the end of the fountain. I don't think he's going to be close enough. From there, Daniels just has to keep him behind. And here we go through the final 2 corners. Daniels keeps it off the wall. Keeps it off that wall. And once again, for the 4th time in the Alpha Touring Challenge, John Daniels will be your Delta race winner. He crosses the line just ahead of Chris McDonald. What a win for him. The rest of the field coming across now. David Thomas, in his first Delta start, he will pick up a 3rd place. Well earned for Dave. And he is on that Delta podium. There's your race winner, Michael Polasek, and that wraps up the first of 13 incredibly exciting rounds that are sure to come here this season. The number 1 resuming business as usual. There is Logan McKenzie, finished P2. There is John Daniels, your Delta winner. So that wraps up the first race of the season. We'll bring you your results here in just a moment. Michael Polasek starts the season off strong with a win. Matthew Mayer off on the back foot with that pit lane mistake. McKenzie and Hendricks bagging the podium as a result. Daniels, he looked strong in the back half of the Delta championship last season. He got the wins at the start of the season, the 2 wins at the start of the season, but I feel like he actually started to get good in the back half of the season, and that last win, I think his 3rd win was his best one, and now this one I think was his 4th win so far is his new best one. So he just continues to improve. Looks like he's getting the grips of the Veloster quite well, and his fight for the Delta title begins with this victory. Let's get a hold of those race results. Starting at the top, we have Michael Polasek winning by nearly 15 seconds over Logan McKenzie, and then Hendricks P3. Then you have Daniels, McDonald, and Thomas on that Delta podium. Jess Rakowski ended up 22nd
Overall, P4 in the Delta class, your biggest mover of the day, Kurt Smith, went up 15 positions, starting 39th, finished 24th in the Delta top 5. Can't really complain about that. Also, just the first car to be lapped there. And then, yeah, I mean, you had basically 32 cars finish that lap. Pretty strong number for Belle Isle, I'd say. You go down to the bottom of the results table, you see Haight and Dunbar, and then Morella, who did not start the race, I believe. That will wrap up our first race of the season. Thank you so much for watching. We look to seeing you next week when we head to Road America for a sprint challenge, 2 races, a 13-car invert. It's going to be a lot of fun. We'll see you there. Have a good night.